There's an old professor who was like the head of a chaplain's commission, and he came up to me and said, Winfield, you have so many gifts and talents. And he said, the problem is, he said, man, you've got more gifts and talents than a lot of people. Like, wow, it's amazing. Like, man, you can really do anything you want. And he said, the problem is you have this, he said, if you think of like a pie chart, at the end of the day, you have the same amount of time and the same amount of yourself to give out as anyone else. And he said the challenge of a guy like you is if you don't learn the gift of limits, you're gonna burn yourself out. And I think we got to take a long view. And again, we live in a culture of instant gratification. And I think that's part of it too, is again, why we need Sabbath. We need to remind ourselves that, we could work every single day of the week, sun up to sundown. But again, we will destroy our greatest asset, which is ourselves or our families, those that are closest to us. And
or our businesses or our churches or our organizations. How many churches have been burnt out because the pastor gets burnt out, how many employees get burnt out because their boss is burnt out.
And what happens is you end up losing the fire that originally began the business or the church, when that happens. And again, that's where you have to guard it. You have to protect it. That's where time away, whatever you need to do to be healthy, do it. There's, Parker Palmer has a great little book called Let Your Life Speak, which is just a wonderful little book. It's tiny. But he says, soul care or self-care is never selfish. I love that line. Self-care is never selfish. Because most of us, we think, oh, well, I can't worry about me because that's just being selfish. No, if you don't take care of yourself, it's going to affect and influence others. It's going to hurt others. It's not just going to hurt you, but it's going to affect other people as well.
I think, and on that, this will be kind of the last thing before we go, but, soul care, self-care is never selfish, right? And I think when you give that away, I think we can realize that there are usually people in our lives that are willing to receive that, right? I think we get afraid that when we give, if we're going to spend some time on unloading our stuff, right? Or, our frustrations or asking for help, we feel like we're inconveniencing other people or nobody wants to hear that, right? And there's totally a victim mentality that, we don't want to fall into, but you guys talk about, you quote this African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go alone, right? That's like the motto of our society, right? But if you want to go far, go together. And so you and Mark talk about the importance of soul groups, right?
Yes.
And I think this is where, for us, like as a coffee company devoted towards exploring imagination and fellowship, there's a big difference between fellowship and community here, because fellowship is soul oriented, while community, you can be very much alone, in fellowship, you're never alone. So this is another thing that people can do. I want you just to talk about this a little bit, what this kind of practically looks like, but in grabbing a few folks and developing a soul group to share the soul.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, one of the greatest gifts of the last few years is I'm a part of a little group called a soul care group. They're called by different names, but it's a little discipleship group of, say, 3 to 5 people. This is different than a small group. A lot of people think of a small group as like 15 to 20. It's a Bible study or whatever. Nobody shares their heart in a space that size. And a soul care group is a group of, again, 3 to 5 small. It's small and intimate. It's more of a covenantal, deep fellowship where there's no curriculum. You're not studying anything. You're coming together and starting with the question, how is it with your soul? How is it with your soul? What are you struggling with this week? And then, what's the Spirit doing? You ask these leading, deep questions. And most of us, if we're really honest, Randy, most people don't know what that level of intimacy is like, and are desperate. I think people are desperate for that type of, to have someone ask you each week, how is it with your soul, to pray for you, to encourage you, a space where you can be accountable and you can just bare your soul with others. It's very powerful. Again, there's no curriculum. You don't have to read a book. You just go around and just share. And it becomes, I started with the group. I'm the youngest in the group. It's a bunch of old professors. And so they're like saints. And here I, here I am with all my brokenness and all my junk. I come in there. I think I keep it exciting. But we've been doing this for like 5 years. And so when the pandemic hit, we just went straight to Zoom, and it's been amazing. And it has been one of the things, again, that's been a rhythm for me, is having not just the soul care, not just my own personal private, but also the corporate. And we look at that in the book of 3 types of rhythms. One is the personal spiritual, 2 is kind of the leadership rhythms, kind of resilient type stuff. And then the 3rd is corporate, kind of doing it with others.
I think too, like, just as we're, for churches and businesses and stuff like that, I often wonder, like, well, if we tweaked this or we changed this, how different would our world and our society be, Yeah. And I think our churches and our leaders, our Christian leaders, who really get it, right, should really be championing the importance of this. And the thing that I think maybe people are afraid of, right, is that, and leaders in particular, is it's hard to program something that, and keep your hands on something that's that organic. And like you said, this is not small groups, these aren't community groups. These are these are mine, last night, ran several hours, and sometimes it's gone till 3 or 4 in the morning and you wake up after 2 hours of sleep, but it's been reviving to the soul, right? And again, halt, right, as the therapists say, it's not just tired that's burning us out, but it's loneliness that's burning out so many people too.
It's the idea with Soulfriend, the other thing is, again, there's this great Celtic tradition of what's called a soul friend. Having the soul care groups, or or again, these are groups, but these are people finding someone whom you can bare your soul with, and it's really powerful, having that. And I just encourage everyone. It takes humility. We have to let go. We live in a culture of shame, to where we're embarrassed and we feel ashamed, like if our marriages are struggling or if we're struggling financially. And man, let go of that. Like, let go of it and bare your soul. Find someone. And it's not shameful. It's very freeing to be able to come to a place where you can say, hey, man, I'm struggling. I need help. I need somebody to help me, and I think that's the first step. And this is why stuff like, again, the 12-step programs, stuff like that, has been incredibly impactful for millions of people, because it's provided a context for people to just come and just bare their, bare their souls, and share their struggles. And so the beauty of this is it could be 1, 2, 3 people, keep it super small, and you can do it.
Grab a swimming partner in your ebb and flow of life.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Yeah.
Well, Winfield, this is great. Where can people pick up the book, Healthy Rhythms for Leaders, and find out more about what you guys are doing with coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. So we co-founded Healthy Rhythms Coaching, and we offer coaching, and it integrates, it's for leaders, but it integrates spiritual format. It starts there. It starts with the soul. And so you can find us at healthyrhythms.org. The book, Healthy Rhythms for Leaders, available on Amazon. I've also written a number of other books you could check out there. All my stuff's on Amazon. You can find out more about me at winfieldbevins.com. Hey, if you're interested in my artwork, I think I've done over 40 mug designs for Randy and Drinklings. And So yeah, it's just great to share with you. Enjoyed the conversation today. Thanks, Randy.
Awesome. Thanks, man.